Before the events of the first century, death operated as an absolute monarch. To anyone looking out over the limestone skyline of Jerusalem, the grave was the guaranteed final horizon for every living thing. It functioned as an inescapable biological and spiritual constant. According to the Apostle Paul, sin entered the world through one man, and death followed as the direct consequence, establishing a reign that held all of humanity captive. We see the codification of that law right here in this ancient Hebrew text. The scripture defines death as the literal wages of sin. It was a dominion with no natural escape. Then, a historical singularity occurred outside the city walls. A crucifixion at Golgotha, followed by an empty tomb, disrupted that established order. The crucifixion and resurrection provided an escape from the grave for the faithful. At the same time, this event stripped death of its autonomy. It turned a sovereign force into a conditional vassal, creating a scenario where the body's natural exit could be barred by divine decree. Fast forward to the apocalyptic vision recorded in Revelation chapter 9. The fifth trumpet sounds, a star falls, and an abyss cracks open, disgorging smoke and demonic locusts onto the earth. The text describes a torment inflicted on humanity so severe that the natural the sufferers seek the release of the grave. But here, we encounter a chilling anomaly in the biblical record. Examining this prophecy in the manuscript, it reads, "During those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. The body reaches its limit, but the cessation of life remains blocked." This failure of the biological end reveals a shift in who holds the keys to the exit. Revelation quotes the risen Christ, "I hold the keys of Hades and of death." This represents a literal transfer of control. Death lost its autonomous power. Its ability to claim life became entirely subject to a higher command. It can no longer claim a life when a physical body fails. The mechanism of mortality is now managed by the victor. In the context of the locusts, Christ commands death to stand down. He weaponizes the inability to die, forbidding the grave from offering its usual relief. To grasp the physical reality of this judgment, we need to consider the human body. The historian Caroline Walker Bynum highlights a deep-seated theological belief in the persistence and integrity of human flesh, even after life has fled. In a broken world, the return to dust, decomposition, is a terminal point for physical suffering. It is a grim but reliable end to agony. This visual represents the horror of denied decomposition. The natural process of decay is supernaturally suspended. Stripped of its ability to shut down, the body becomes an inescapable prison of nerve endings. The locusts inflict their venom. Pain receptors fire at maximum capacity, yet the system is held together. The flesh is forced to remain a vessel for torment. Because the master of death has barred the exit, the individual cannot fulfill the natural course toward dissolution. Scripture records other moments where death was bypassed, but they operate through grace. The prophets Enoch and Elijah were removed from the earthly realm entirely, taken up to heaven to avoid the grave. When Daniel survived the lion's den, God neutralized the predators. The teeth and claws lost their lethal power, preventing injury from occurring in the first place. And when Jesus called Lazarus out of the tomb, he demonstrated the power to restore life after the body had already begun to fail. Revelation 9 represents a terrifying inversion of this power. Here, absolute dominion over death is used to block the path to the grave, trapping the victims in the precise moment of their destruction. This visualization shows the duality of the resurrection. The same power that shattered the exit for believers now locks the exit for those under this judgment. Because death's grip was loosened, Paul could taunt the grave, yet that identical loss of autonomy gives the judge the power to weaponize physical existence. Death's subjugation is complete when the grave itself flees. Under the command of its conqueror, the force that once claimed all humanity is now forced to refuse the very people who seek its embrace. Looking back at the skyline of Jerusalem today, the weight of that first-century event remains. The resurrection exerted a direct claim over the biology of the end. It ensured that the body's trajectory toward dust is no longer a natural certainty, but a command that can be rescinded. For those seeking the grave in vain, the Master has permanently locked the door.